Welcome to rSlash Offmychest, where OP thinks that he's a murderer. Our next Reddit post is from Unusual Bluebird. In 2002, I was driving with some friends late at night and hit a woman who had drunkenly started walking into the street while walking on the sidewalk with her friends. The lead up and immediate aftermath of the accident is nearly a total blur for me. I don't remember seeing her, the exact moment of impact, or even getting out of my car. But I remember coming upon her lying in the street, lying face down, and screaming. Her friends had swarmed around her, my friends had flooded out of my car and surrounded me, but everyone was dead silent except for her screaming. I walked to an angle where she could see me from where she was on the ground, and one of her friends must have said something like, "He was driving." And the girl's wailing turned into a flurry of words directed at me. "You paralyzed me! You effing paralyzed me! My life is ruined! I can't move anything!" In her frantic, panicked voice, muffled into the concrete. EMT arrived and brought her away in an ambulance. Police arrived and arrested me thinking I'd been drunk driving. I was ultimately released and cleared of any legal wrongdoing. To make things worse, I was harassed by the girl's family and friends for over a year because they believed the police were wrong about me not being intoxicated. I got in therapy and started working on forgiving myself for the accident and moving on with my life. And that was somewhat successful for a few years. I tried to get in contact with the girl via her family to apologize and check on her condition, and I was informed that she had taken her own life just shy of 2 years after the accident. At that moment, all the work I'd done on myself completely unraveled, and I was right back to standing on that sidewalk, watching her and listening to her scream that I'd ruined her life. Except now with the knowledge that I had essentially actually taken her life. From that moment on, I brought that pain and guilt with me everywhere. I live a normal life, got married, had kids, work, and walk the dogs. But in all my quiet moments, I hear her words and they eat at me. My family knows about everything that happened. My wife knows, as well as my few remaining friends from those days. But I don't talk about it because I feel too much guilt surrounding it. Just typing this out is probably the most I've spoken on this accident in 20 years. I can't help but think that anyone who knows my secret thinks of me as a murderer. Well, I'm a total stranger, and I have no horse in this race. I would say that at worst, you're a manslaughterer, not a murderer, because it was clearly accidental. If anyone, it's probably her fault, as awful as this is to say. Because, yeah, she's the victim, but it sounds like she stepped out into the street when she shouldn't have. I mean, maybe OP was driving recklessly, but with all the witnesses and the cops letting him go, it sounds like OP was just driving normally and she stepped into it. So I don't think most people would consider OP to be a murderer. If that gives you any comfort, OP, I kind of doubt it. I think the only way to look at it is that you're both victims, just in very different ways. Down in the comments, we have this story from Jacksta. My dad used to be a bus driver, and he hit an 18-year-old on a dirt bike who was on the wrong side of the road racing one of his friends. The kid went under the wheels of my dad's bus. My dad got out, and the guy made eye contact with my dad as he died. He literally stared my dad down as he passed away. This happened around the same time as OP's story. The kid's family literally harassed us for years and even somehow found out where we live. We had to move and get restraining orders. It didn't help that the police told the guy's family that the kid was on the wrong side of the road and there was nothing my dad could have done. Anyways, 23 years later, my dad still blames himself, and I know he often thinks about it. But it isn't his fault in the same way that it wasn't yours. My point is that the way you feel is completely normal, but it isn't your fault. Yeah, I think we all have terrible memories that we hate that creep in from the back of our brain when we're, laying in bed trying to go to sleep. It's just yours is 1,000 times worse than mine and the average person's. Our next Reddit post is from MB Will. 8 of us were meeting in our conference room this morning, including one of the VPs and the chief financial officer. 7 of us were in attendance already, a relaxed atmosphere, talking about what we all did over the weekend and whose kids started school already. The last guy comes in and sees one of the CPAs has a Dunkin' Coolata ice cream looking drink with the flavored drizzle and whipped cream and says, "Man, one of those will kill your whole month's worth of all those salads you've been eating. Just wasted all that time and money." For context, the person who was drinking that sugary drink was a bigger woman. She's very soft-spoken, respectful, professional, very much only speaks when she has something worth hearing. So this was absolutely not the correct person to make that comment to. The woman looked down into her lap and fought tears. And yes, she's been eating salads for a few months. It was just a wild comment from a person that never casually socializes with the other. The CFO stands up and says, "This company has always had a zero-tolerance policy regarding bullying, body shaming, and contributing to toxic workplaces. Your termination is effective immediately." The guy turns white as a ghost, looking terrified, stands motionless for 5 seconds, and then quietly walks out. The CFO follows him out. The firing heard round the office has now been the discussion for the last hour or so. One of the ladies told me after that the CFO's middle school-age daughter has dealt with constant bullying for the last couple of years. For context, we're not kids. Everyone in that room was over the age of 40. Not that it would have been any better had it come from some 22-year-old fool, but at our age, maturity usually kicks in by now. Obviously, I'm giving the CFO the benefit of the doubt. I think he's a good guy, especially considering the situation with his daughter. But even if he wasn't a good guy, you still gotta fire him, because that's workplace harassment in front of tons of witnesses, including the CFO. Not firing that guy would have been a huge liability. So the coworker who made that comment really dug his own grave. Our next Reddit post is from Manasby here. "I let my friend borrow my phone for a messed up prank. And now I'm carrying a secret that could ruin his family. I have this friend, Pandu. He and I were doing our usual thing, taking an evening walk through our farms in our hometown. It was all normal until we saw 2 guys sneak into a big sugarcane field. We were pretty far away, but, we had a good idea of what they were planning to do in there. My first instinct was just to ignore it and keep walking. Live and let live, right? But Pandu gets this wild idea. He turns to me and says that we should film them. His plan was to use the video to blackmail them for some cash. I was immediately out. I told him there was no way in hell I was going to watch 2 guys go at it, especially not live. He was determined though. He said he'd do it himself and just needed me to be a lookout. Since he didn't have a phone back then, he took mine and went into the fields. A few minutes later, I hear him start screaming and crying. He comes sprinting back towards me, looking like he'd seen a ghost. He wouldn't say a word about what happened, and was acting weird the whole night. The next day, it hit me that he used my phone. I checked my gallery and there was nothing there. But then I checked the recently deleted folder, and there it was. I wish I'd never looked. The video was graphic. It was my friend's dad with the other guy. I saw things I can never unsee. To this day, the image makes me feel sick to my stomach. He didn't talk to me for a while after that, but we eventually patched things up and are still friends. The crazy part is, he has no idea that I know. He thinks he's the only one who saw it, but I saw it too. And I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with this secret. The highest rated comment down below comes from Treebeard, and he says, "It's wild to me that your issue was with the gay intercourse and not the blackmail." I don't think that's what's going on here. I don't think OP is horrified by the gay intercourse. I think he's horrified by the adultery, the idea that he's just gained knowledge that could destroy a family. I think, probably, right? Also, he wasn't down for the blackmail either because he said he was immediately out. So people are being kind of harsh to OP, which I think is a little bit unfair. He just didn't want to be involved, and curiosity got the best of him. Can't say I blame him, I probably would have checked the pictures too. Our next Reddit post is from Independent Yak. "I heard the crash by my house and we ran to help. The whole street was out and ready to help. It was a motorcycle crash. The guy sped around a turn too fast and slid into an oncoming vehicle. Broken femur, broken wrist, collapsed lung. The guy's breathing was labored, and he was unconscious when I arrived. Another person was already helping. The biker started to gain consciousness and was terrified. An ICU nurse neighbor arrived and held his head straight. Her husband checked his chest for bleeding. I just held his hand and spoke to him to keep him calm, and he told me he was scared and he was in so much pain, and someone needed to tell his wife that he loves her. He managed to tell me that his name was Chris. I said that it was okay and to just focus on breathing and staying still. When the paramedics arrived and I told him I was handing him over, he yelled that he was scared and gripped my hand so tight. When I looked over my shoulder walking away, they were doing compressions. I sat there until they stopped. I passed by that spot multiple times a day, and passing by it the next day was a lot. At the end of the day, I passed by and saw some people taking pictures, and I stopped and asked them if they were investigators. One of the guys taking the pictures said that his son died there last night. I pulled over and got out. The guy's wife was sitting on the tailgate, and I told her that I was there when it happened. She hugged me immediately, and I told her what he said to me, that he loves her. She crumpled in my arms. This perfect stranger just fell into me, and I just held her as she cried. I told her how every neighbor came out to help in seconds, and how the other family is okay. I just focused on standing up so I could keep her from collapsing onto the road. The biker's father came to pick up the pieces so that people wouldn't have to see the wreckage. I noticed that they grabbed the t-shirt they'd cut off of him. The same one I stared at every time I drove past that spot that day. The same one he was wearing. I couldn't stop staring at his father. It was the same eyes that I saw that night. The same face. Then down below we have this super relevant comment from Relaxed Bread. I lost my husband in a motorcycle wreck last year. I find myself thinking a lot about his final moments. That I don't know if he was alone. If someone stopped to help him like you did. If he was conscious, if he had something to say. Not knowing any of it makes me ache. Not being there for him makes me ache. You gave her a gift. I hope you know that. When you're sitting with the weight of what you had to see, I hope you can remember that you gave her a gift and that she'll never forget it. Our next Reddit post is from Street Level. My wife is my best friend. I love her. She's a great person. Kind, loyal, all of it. We've been married 3 years. But I feel like my wife is slow. I know that sounds horrible, and I feel like a total butthole even typing it. For years, it's been a thing. She needs me for anything technical or that requires problem solving. Like, I've had to FaceTime her to show her how to find something in her banking app multiple times. It's not just tech stuff either, it's a bunch of things. We have a totally different sense of humor. I had to literally explain to her what a meme was a while back. And I'll be honest, for a while I didn't mind. I'm an IT guy, so this stuff is easy for me. Part of me liked being the guy who could fix things for her. It made me feel needed, you know? It was just a little quirk, not a big deal. But now we have a 1-month-old baby, and it's like this small issue has become a monster that's destroying everything. She just doesn't get it. How to hold him right, how to change a diaper without him screaming. I show her over and over. She tries. I know she's trying so hard, but it's like she does everything wrong. She'll do something that makes no sense and the baby starts wailing, and I have to step in. I've read about mom brain or whatever, but shouldn't she be more in tune with the baby? I feel like I'm the one who knows what he needs, and she's just fumbling. And my patience is gone, completely shot. I'm snapping at her. I'm being sharp and critical, and I can see on her face that I'm just crushing her. And I feel like the biggest turd on the planet. This has to be my fault. We're both so tired. I know this is supposed to be a team effort, but I'm acting like her drill sergeant, and a terrible one at that. I'm hurting the person I love most when she needs me the most. How do I fix this? How do I stop being so angry? Has anyone been here before? I feel like I'm ruining everything. OP, if it's any consolation, I think most parents have been there, not about the whole stupid partner thing, but about being exhausted and angry and irritable because you have a 1-month-old thing. Just try to remember, it's not you versus your partner, it's you and your partner versus the problem together. And also keep in mind, you can't blame her but so much, because who's the real stupid person here? The person with a low IQ or the person who procreates with the person with a low IQ? You're just as responsible as she is, OP. Our next Reddit post is from Pretty Cupcake. Okay, so this is super embarrassing, but I have to say it. A few years ago, I found this niche website where people paid you to do all sorts of weird stuff on camera. At first, I just did normal stuff, like talk about my day or answer questions. Nothing sexual or anything. Then, one guy offered me money to cry while he watched. I laughed, but it was a decent amount, so I tried it. Basically, I just set up my laptop, started a live feed, and let myself cry while he watched. Sometimes he'd chat and tell me to cry more softly or ask me why I was sad. After that, a bunch of people started requesting the same thing. Some of them were just curious. Some asked really weird stuff, like they'd want me to sob about made-up scenarios or describe things that embarrassed me. I started noticing patterns, like certain times of day I'd get more viewers or higher tips. And it felt weirdly addictive checking my messages and seeing who wanted me to cry next. Sometimes I cried for real, sometimes I faked it, but it got more interactive than I thought. People would tip extra for certain reactions, and I got kinda used to performing sadness on command. I never told anyone about this. Even now, thinking about it makes me feel embarrassed, guilty, and a little proud, I guess. It was messed up, but also kind of thrilling knowing strangers were watching me be vulnerable. And I kept thinking I'd stop, but somehow I didn't. It's my little secret that nobody would ever guess. Except for maybe Reddit, lol. This story is a real tearjerker, OP. It's like that old saying goes, there's riches in niches. That was rSlash Off My Chest, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit episodes every single day.